If you've been paying attention to the NBA at all for these first few games of the season, you probably noticed that teams have been scoring the ball at an alarming rate. See, it used to be rare to see teams go out there and drop like 130 plus point games a night. But now it seems like the lowest that we see teams score is like 110 to 115 points in a game. Whereas last year, Golden State led the league in points per game at just 113.5 points per game. This year so far though, a scoring average like that would only put them as the 14th best offense in the league, well behind the New Orleans Pelicans, who are averaging a blistering 140 points per game, as well as the Jazz, Blazers, Wolves, and Kings, who are all averaging around 125 points per game. So scoring is up by a lot this year. And one of the best defensive players in the NBA, Draymond Green, seems to know why. And he says it's because defense this year is no longer an emphasis for the NBA.
It's been called pretty tight. Which, we were told that. Defense isn't really an emphasis anymore in this league. So I think you're seeing that all around the league with these high scores. We know what the emphasis is, so just got to be better.
People have been saying for years that defense doesn't exist in today's NBA, that no one plays defense. And in the past, it could be argued that that was true. More often than not, there were still teams out there that were playing defense. This year though, that could be 100% true for the most part. And some could even argue that this is exactly what the NBA wants, as a lot of the rules that they have implemented this season have kind of taken away the ability from teams to play defense. And the main one is the freedom of movement, which states that players aren't allowed to prevent other players from getting wherever they want on the court. So trying to fight through screens or just doing anything to hinder the movement of the offensive player on the court is now illegal and will result in a foul being called. And this was what I was complaining about during the preseason and why there were so many fouls being called in the preseason, and now even in the regular season we are still seeing this trend as well, where teams find themselves in foul trouble within the first 5 minutes of a quarter, and also players find themselves on the verge of fouling out a lot more often now than they have been in the past. So that rule in and of itself dampens defense a lot. And then another reason why teams are scoring so much is because of the new shot clock rule, with the shot clock only resetting to 14 seconds instead of 24 seconds after an offensive rebound. That's also contributing to these high scores, since if teams are forced to shoot or make a play faster after an offensive rebound, it will result in more possessions per game. And the more possessions there are in a game, the more scoring there is in a game. And it also leads to more impressive stat lines too. Since if teams are scoring more, that means players are scoring more, which means point per game averages, assist averages, rebound averages, all of those things will rise this season as well. And the point of all of this for the NBA is to speed up the pace of the game. See, ever since the Warriors became the most popular team in the league due to their style of play of up and down the court really fast with lots of shooting, the NBA realized that that is what a lot of the fans want to see. They want to see that fast-paced action with a lot of shooting. That's what brings in the most views and the best ratings. So if the NBA has been seeing that this has been working really well for the Golden State Warriors, of course they're going to try their best to get other teams to play like this too, since that'll bring in more views and more ratings and more money, because at the end of the day, the NBA is a business and they're going to do whatever they find is best for their business. And it's not like these changes just started this year either. The league has been slowly implementing changes to speed up the game for the last few years, and they will most likely add some more rules after this season as well, and they will keep doing this until it starts to reflect poorly upon their ratings and viewership. So their mindset is kind of like, well, how far can we push this? How fast-paced would be considered too fast-paced? And honestly, I'm not quite sure when we will reach that point where the NBA is considered too fast and people start to lose interest because of it. I mean, ESPN just reported that this opening week has been one of their highest opening weeks of all time rating-wise for the NBA, meaning that people are loving the game. I can't lie, the games have been extremely entertaining for me to watch too. So while it's easy to say and think that these changes are ruining or destroying the NBA, that's not the case. The NBA is merely evolving, and clearly people are liking it, because if not, the viewership and ratings wouldn't be so high. So Trae Young just accomplished what only 2 other rookies have been able to accomplish in NBA history, as yesterday when he dropped 36 points and 11 assists in the Hawks' 133-111 win over the Cavs. Young joined Jason Kidd and Stephen Curry as the only players who have put up a game with 35 or more points and 10 or more assists as a rookie, kind of silencing some of the critics that he has had so far, for now at least. And while both he and the Hawks were celebrating not going down 0-3 in the season, Kevin Love and the Cleveland Cavaliers weren't so lucky, as after proclaiming that they were going to shock a lot of NBA fans this season by making the playoffs, their confidence may now be dwindling a bit, as Kevin Love said after the game that they're off to an alarming start this season. We didn't expect to be 0-3. On opening night at home, we expect to play better in front of our own fans. I don't know if alarming is the right word, but it sure seems right now. Our effort level just wasn't there. It's just gonna be a growth year for us. We've got to get better. So the Cavs have already went from having Tristan Thompson saying that they're still the best team in the Eastern Conference until proven otherwise, to admitting that this is going to be a growth year for them. That didn't take long at all. Another team though that now finds themselves in that 0-3 hole is the Oklahoma City Thunder, as even though Russell Westbrook came back 100% healthy, they still lost at home to the Sacramento Kings, 131-120. Quick shout out though to De'Aaron Fox, by the way. He has been amazing to start the season, even if this was just the Kings' first win of the season. But he had 22 points and 10 assists yesterday, and he has been shooting the ball really well from the field throughout these first 3 games. So it's good to see him showing signs of improvement already. And also, Iman Shumpert apparently rose from the dead yesterday and had the best game that he has had since maybe forever, as he was on fire, finishing with 26. As for the Thunder though, this is the worst start to a season that they have had since relocating to OKC, and they are for sure disappointed with how their season has started, but I mean, I think we can give them a little bit of a break here. They did have to play against the Warriors game 1 and then the Clippers, both of which are good teams and without their star and Russell Westbrook as well. So you can kind of forgive them for losing those first 2 games, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this one was kind of ugly, as they shouldn't be losing to Sacramento like this, but it's still way too early to panic. Regardless of all of the talk of no defense being played this year, there has been one team so far that has actually still been playing defense, and it happens to be the team that was the worst defensive team in the NBA last year, the Denver Nuggets. As in the era of teams scoring an average of 115 points per game, the Nuggets have held all 3 of their opponents so far this year to under 100 points, including now the Golden State Warriors, 100-98 the final score in this one, as Denver advances to 3-0 on the season. And I'm extremely interested to see how long they can keep this level of defense up, because if they can keep this up all season long, it'll be one of the biggest turnarounds that I can think of in NBA history. However, another reason the Nuggets have been so great so far is because of Nikola Jokic, as he has been flat out amazing. Of course, he had that perfect game a couple of nights ago when he recorded a 30-point triple-double without turning the ball over or missing a shot, and he was great again last night too, putting up 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Anyways, this could be the year that the Nuggets take the leap from being a good team to a great team. And the Houston Rockets continue to struggle. It was kind of masked by the fact they were able to win the game against the Lakers, but the Rockets just haven't been playing that great of basketball so far this season. Not on the same level as they were last year, at least, as they lost to the Clippers yesterday, 115-112, dropping to 1-2 on the year. Now, granted, there was no Chris Paul in this game for Houston as he's serving his 2-game suspension, but still, this should have been a game that they were able to win because they are still the more talented team than the Clippers. Tobias Harris, though, led the way for LA with 23, while Montrezl Harrell was solid off the bench with 17 points and 10 rebounds. Although it is time for the player of the day. We guys get to vote on who you think had the best performance from yesterday by clicking the little eye icon in the top right-hand corner of the video. Just remember though, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, that player was of course Nikola Jokic and his perfect game of 36 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. That does it for everything that we had to talk about from yesterday though. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and smack that like button and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. Thank you once again for watching though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, and until tomorrow, I am out of here. Peace!